Most of us will experience trauma at some point in our lives, but sometimes we think of it as something that only happens to someone else. Sometimes we even say, no, I don't need help. I help other people. But the world is not divided into people who need help and people who do the helping. Each of us has a need for connection and support, and each of us has the capacity to provide that for others. Trauma is an event or environment that changes our senses of safety, control, and identity, and has lasting effects on our brain, body, and behavior. Another way to think of trauma is this: something bad happened to me or around me. I was unable to stop it from happening, and now I feel different from before, or different from other people. When we think of examples of trauma, they're usually single events with a clear beginning and end, like a fire, or an accident, or the death of a loved one. But when our basic needs aren't met, or when we experience ongoing abuse, or illness, or oppression, those environments can be traumatic too. Trauma is a common experience, but also an individual one. So what's traumatic for me might not be traumatic for you. And if you and I experienced something traumatic together, our reactions might be very different. In the brain, trauma can change how we remember or understand information and how we make decisions. In the body, trauma can change how we feel, eat, sleep, and react to sensory information like sounds and smells. In our behavior, trauma can change how we communicate with others and what we do or don't feel like doing. The changes we experience in our brain, body, and behavior are normal responses to abnormal events. These changes don't show that something's wrong with us, they show that something wrong happened around us. Our natural reactions to trauma allow us to adapt and survive, but they can be frustrating when they get in the way of living our lives like we want to. Trauma changes the brain and body in ways that everyday challenges don't. There are lots of different ways to recover from trauma, but simply waiting for it to get better just doesn't work. When we are recovering from trauma, two main things need to happen: coping and healing. Coping is about managing the stress, overwhelm, or pain that trauma causes. Healing is about working to understand and address the traumatic experience itself. If I survived a fire in my apartment building, coping might look like finding ways to relax when the smells of a barbecue make me feel restless and on edge. Healing might look like talking to a friend about being afraid of losing the things and people I care about. Check back for more videos in this series, including more information about trauma and tools for recovery.